Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98 for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. And one more thing, we know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March the 1st, 2025. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Thanks for joining us today. Since this has been a busy political week, we're going to visit with Lt Governor Pamela Evette to get her take on the outcome of Tuesday's elections. We saw a higher than usual turnout among young voters this week, and there were more young people's names on the ballot, too. Frank Farmer, a millennial, is one of the new faces of Greenville County Council. We'll talk with Frank about the renewed interest in politics among younger voters. Also joining us today is Tonya Camunas, Executive Director of A Child's Haven, which is a local nonprofit serving the needs of special children and their families. Of course, it's fall for Greenville. We have all the information you need to have a fun weekend. Let's get started. For more than 30 years, A Child's Haven has been a lifeline for children facing developmental delays and behavioral challenges due to limited resources, abuse, or neglect. The nonprofit offers therapeutic child care to help those kids and their families thrive. On our guest line today, Tonya Camunas, the lady who makes it all happen, the Child Haven's Executive Director. Welcome, and how are you?
I am doing really well. Thank you so much for having me. And I have to say, it's definitely not me. It's our community and our team. But thank you so much for, their encouragement and having us.
Well, every organization has to have a leader, and the leader kind of sets the tone. So let's start, Tonya, with just a 30,000-foot view of what A Child's Haven is all about.
Absolutely. Well, we are dedicated to helping families who are at risk, who are in need, who are experiencing a lot of hardships, and really dedicated to serving them by providing them with childcare that a lot of times families cannot afford or access due to living in poverty, limited resources, and many other stressors that come along with parenting. And so we work with children with behavioral health challenges and developmental delays and give them a space to heal, thrive, develop in a healthy way, and work with their caregivers to provide them with therapy and resources that they need so that they can really help nurture the success that we're seeing in their children. So it's really early intervention mixed with the whole family in mind. We're so dedicated to this work because in our county, in South Carolina, just like across the nation, there are, there's a foster care system, and there's a lot of children and families who are really struggling and are not able to access what they need and have a lot of systemic trauma themselves from going from Department of Social Services to others. And we need to be, we really feel responsible in trying to create a program and improve the early childhood system itself so that they don't need to be without, they don't need to live in scarcity. They have what they need, and they have really friendly, trauma-informed people to help them through that whole process.
Yeah. I like the idea that you not only help the children, but you help the parents and the family involved too. It's sort of just taking care of everyone involved, because it is important that they all get the help that they need, correct?
That's absolutely important, and it shows that we use data to really drive the work that we do and design our programming and evaluate it. And we know that when you are able to help the caregivers and the adults in the children's life and help them learn how to interact with the child, parent the child in a way that's not using forceful discipline or any kind of punitive things that are actually could damage the child and make things worse. We try to come alongside them and empower them, give them skills, reduce their stress, give them relief and resources so they can, so they can really work to get their life in a place that is better than when they entered our program.
Yeah. Now, the children who are involved with your program and the parents, the families who are involved too, how do they become involved? How do they find out about a Child's Haven?
Sure. So we're in Greenville County, and we're in a pocket where we do receive self-referrals. So we do get a lot of families who will actually refer themselves if they meet our qualifications. But we do get a lot of referrals from Department of Social Services, from other child care centers, from developmental pediatrics and healthcare centers. So we're always getting referrals from places that sometimes we haven't heard of, but they have actually heard of us. So that's currently how we do it, and we do have a wait list, which I'm happy to say that we're able to serve a lot of our families quickly, and so they don't have to be on a wait list for a long period of time, which is also really important to us since the severity of their needs. They need timely treatment and support. On
our guest line today, Tonya Camunas, who is the Executive Director of A Child's Haven. For additional information, you can go to their website, achildshaven.org, achildshaven.org. How many children do you typically have in your program?
At any given time, if you were to come to our center, which is quite large, we served about 80 families at a time. That translates to about 450 individuals, so children and the adults in their lives per year. And so we're growing. We've been growing over the 30 years. We started in a church and then went to a strip mall, and now we're at a really large campus, which is 12 acres. And so we're able to do more, and that's really because of the investment that our community members have made into us.
Yeah, wow. This obviously costs money. It takes money to keep this going, and I see that you are having an event coming up. You want to talk with us about your holiday benefit brunch?
Absolutely. Appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, since we are a nonprofit, and you're right that quality services and the programs do cost a lot, and we are fortunate that we can bill our services through the government and receive some revenue through that, which is 50% of our total budget. But the other 50% is done by complete fundraising on our end. So that's done through sponsorships, through events, and other ways that we try to reach our community. But our brunch is our annual fundraiser that we have in December. We're having it at the Huguenot Mill, which is in Greenville, and information is on our website, but each year we have a keynote, we have performance by our children, and we give a lot more information on ways that people can volunteer their time, become more engaged, and advocate for a healthier community.
Yep. And there are lots of ways that our listeners can help. Again, go to achildshaven.org, and you can see the many different ways to help out. With me today, Tonya Camunas with A Child's Haven. In our final couple of moments together here today, talk with us about some of the challenges, some of the things that you see that you'll be facing in 2025, in addition to the holiday benefit brunch, other ways that our listeners might be able to help, whether that's through volunteering or other opportunities to give in the coming year.
Sure. We'll be talking about it more at our brunch, but we are excited to be launching a volunteer reading program called Betty's Book Buddies, named after Betty Farr, who is a wonderful advocate in our community. And so we're going to be launching that, and we have the Rotary part of it. So that's something that I really encourage people to look into. That will be coming in January. And again, our brunch will be going over that. But another initiative that we're really excited about is we have outdoor learning environments that we have utilized to actually help in our healing programs. And so we have a mini farm and nature trails actually at a project that we want to install at our center. Currently, we don't have anything on that land, and we've been working over the past 7 years really to develop our 12 acres at our center to really serve the best needs, to serve our children the best that we can. And we know that our healing environment outdoors is one of the best ways for us to tap into that healing. And so that's going to be a project that we're asking people to sponsor, to have some naming rights, and also volunteer in. So that's another initiative that would be on deck for 2025.
Yeah, and that sounds very exciting there. I hope we can catch up again later, Tonya, and maybe give us an update. Maybe there's a way that we can help you with that next year. Tonya Camunas with A Child's Haven. Again, achildshaven.org is where you can find additional information. Thank you for your time today. Good luck with you, and I do hope we can catch up again soon.
I hope so, too. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure thing. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. That's just a taste of what you'll be hearing at Fall for Greenville this weekend, featuring over 80 live music acts throughout the festival weekend. That was Loud Music Band. The annual festival showcases local, regional, and national acts spanning multiple music genres such as country, rock, hip-hop, jazz, pop, Americana, folk, bluegrass, reggae, whatever you want, you'll be able to hear it in downtown Greenville. If you love live music, incredible food, and just a fun, exciting atmosphere, Fall for Greenville is the perfect way to experience the heart of Greenville. Whether you're a local or you're planning your first visit, I've got everything you're going to need to know to make the most out of your Fall for Greenville experience. Let's start with a little bit of background. Fall for Greenville is a multi-day festival celebrating the best of Greenville's food, their music, and our culture. This year it takes place throughout the weekend. This was a postponement from the weekend that was originally scheduled to be when we had that Hurricane Helene thing come through. It's going to stretch across the Main Street area of downtown, transforming downtown into a lively outdoor experience for everyone who attends, whether you're local, whether you're a visitor. A lot of people come in to town just for Fall for Greenville. Imagine tasting delicious dishes from the area's top restaurants, jamming out to some of the best live performances on multiple stages spread out. And it's family friendly too. This is something that the whole family can attend, all with the backdrop of Greenville's beautiful fall foliage. Promise you, it's going to be one of the most fun weekends you have. It's a must attend event for anyone who wants to experience the true flavor of the city of Greenville. So let's talk about what everyone's looking forward to, the food. One of the highlights of Fall for Greenville is the amazing variety of food vendors. There's over 40 local restaurants who set up booths along Main Street. They offer bite-sized samples of their signature dishes. You'll need to purchase tickets, which can be used at any of the vendor booths, and it's just a great way to try a little bit of everything without committing to a full meal, and to be able to get just a sample of maybe that restaurant that you've been thinking about going to, but you just haven't yet. Well, you're going to get just a small taste of that, and then decide if you want to go back for a full meal. Let me give you just a few examples of what you can expect. Barbaritos will be there. Baba's, Aspen's Street Sweets, White Wine and Butter. That sounds good. Cantina 76, Bonjour Crepe, Common Pops. Of course, Coffee Underground is a mainstay there. The Pound Cake Man will be there as well, with a whole host. The Flying Biscuit, Everything Egg Roll, the Funnel Delicious, Green Laundry Lounge, Rosalinda's, Ink and Ivy, Home Team Barbecue. Look, Hawaii Donut Company. There's just a whole lot of people down there. Coy, Kilwins, a lot of barbecue. The Local Pie Pizza Company, Larkin's on the River, been around forever. And, of course, Sidewall Pizza, Sobeys New South. Sobeys is, of course, downtown Greenville. Roost Handcrafted Food and Drink, Saffron's Indian Cuisine. We love Saffron's. Sticky Fingers, Society, Sully Steamers, The Lost Cajun. Again, the list goes on. You don't want to miss it. If you want some food and just to have a good time downtown Greenville, this is the weekend to be there. And that's just a small sample of who's going to be down there. Just go to their website, fallforgreenville.net, fallforgreenville.net, and they have a whole list of not only the food vendors that are there, but they have a complete entertainment list too, because Fall for Greenville isn't just about food. It's also known for some incredible live music. If you'd like to hear some up-and-coming musicians, this is the place to be. This year, the festival will feature performances on several stages throughout downtown Greenville. You're going to have rock, jazz, blues, country, something for everyone. The Blue Notes Band, they're playing jazz from the 1950s and 60s. The Blue Notes Band brings to life the sounds of that early jazz area, Louis Armstrong, Frank Sinatra, Herbie Hancock, Miles Davis. There's just a whole host of the hits back in that area that they play. The Loud Music Company, I played you a little bit of their music coming in to this segment. They were founded in 2020 by artist Michael Cole after relocating from Los Angeles to Wilmington, North Carolina. In 2022, Michael formed the band Loud Music Company with some of his most talented musician friends. In their first year, they played over 40 shows, released a live album in 2023, and they're currently in the studio recording their debut album to be released sometime this year. They played Greenfield Lake Amphitheater, Plaza Orlando, the Ritz in the Raleigh, Fillmore, Charlotte, and a whole host of big venues, and you can hear them in downtown Greenville this weekend. Sweet Soul is another one. It's a high-energy 60s, 70s party-type band featuring a rhythm section, horns. Again, you're going to love the sounds, and just go to fallforgreenville.net, and they have an entire schedule there of when these bands will be performing and where, because as I said, they have multiple stages. Now, let's talk about what else you can do besides eat and listen to music. Fall for Greenville has activities for all ages, making it just a great family event. For the kids, there's a dedicated family fun zone, features carnival rides, face painting, interactive games. It's just a great way to keep the little ones entertained while you take a break from the food and the music. If you're looking for a little adventure, check out the Beer Garden and the Wine Garden, where you can sample local craft beers, wines from the region. It's just a great way to discover new favorites and, again, enjoy this great fall weather. Art lovers, you're going to find plenty to explore as well. Local artists, craft vendors displaying their work. It's a wonderful chance to pick up some unique souvenirs or just enjoy browsing the beautiful places. Let's go over a few inside tips. Get there early. The festival gets busier as the day goes on, so if you want to beat the crowds and have first dibs on the food, arrive as it opens. Of course, you've missed that already today, but they'll be open again tomorrow. Parking and transportation. Parking can be tricky downtown during the festival, so consider using the free trolley. Some of the ride-sharing apps like Lyft and Uber. That way you can eat and drink and not have to worry about driving. Bring cash for the tickets. You'll need tickets for the food and drink. Again, you can pay cash. They'll always take credit cards. You can buy them at various ticket booths throughout the festival, and they'll accept, again, both cash and your credit card. Buy more than you think you're going to need, though, because you'll always use those leftover tickets next year. Dress comfortably. This is a walking festival, so wear comfortable shoes and bring a jacket. The weather can be unpredictable at times, and we've had a little bit of rain yesterday. Doesn't look like there's going to be any more today, but it could get a little cooler. And you can also download the event app. The Fall for Greenville app is a great tool for navigating the event. It has a map. It has a full list of vendors, the music schedule that I was talking about earlier, and just live updates all throughout the day. So pack the family up and head to downtown Greenville. Admission is free, but again, you'll want to buy those food and drink tickets to get the full experience. You can find all the information you need on that on their website or on the app that I mentioned a minute ago. Up next, we saw young people go to the polls and vote this year, plus a lot of them had their name on the ballot. Frank Farmer is one of the new members of the Greenville County Council, and he is a millennial. We'll talk with him about why he believes the young people have gotten interested in government. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. This year, I really thought I was going to have to boycott the holidays. I was going to lock myself away and not come out until 2025. But after finding PhD weight loss, you can bet I'll be at every holiday party I'm invited to. That's because PhD Weight Loss helped me take control with great confidence, support, and my new healthy body. The best part? PhD Weight Loss did it all without harmful drugs that keep you dependent on them to maintain your weight loss. It's a natural, medication-free approach to weight loss crafted to naturally diminish food-related thoughts, hunger, and cravings, making your weight loss journey more sustainable and enjoyable. Take it from me, I lost 33 pounds. The PhD Weight Loss Program teaches you not just what to eat and when, but also how to think differently about food and finally let go of those cravings and get rid of the hunger naturally. Don't lock yourself away this holiday season. Call PhD Weight Loss today at 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. As we continue today's show, just a quick reminder, your text messages are welcome, as are your emails, joey@joeyhudson.com, and you can also leave me a voice message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Always remember to use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com and take advantage of some of the great offers Mike Lindell has for you. So MyPillow.com, always use promo code Joey. On our guest line today, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. Wow, what a week we've had, huh?
We have had quite a week. As you know, I was in Palm Beach at the Trump headquarters for the big announcements, waiting on all the results to come in. And it was just, from the time I entered, Joey, everybody felt excited, very cautiously optimistic, trying not to jinx anything. But as the numbers started rolling in, the excitement began to build very quickly. So it was a great night. Did you think we would take the populist vote?
I did not. No, I was convinced that he would win the Electoral College, but would not win the popular vote. But shows what I know, huh? I am so happy he did, though. Of course.
I am too. And this was the message you and I had talked about. You got to get out in record numbers, and I've been saying this everywhere since as long as I can remember. Let's say that. The reason they win that popular vote is because everybody comes out to vote, and when they win it, they were using that as their basis for to try to take away the Electoral College.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's because, you hear it just like I do. Well, Trump's going to win South Carolina, so, there's no reason for me to go out and vote.
Yep.
Well, there is, because people track all these things, and we want to show the amount of numbers and support that we have as a party, and that's what this did. So it kind of takes the wind out of their sails about getting rid of the Electoral College.
Well, for months now, we've said too big to rig. Well, it was too big to rig, and that's a great thing because, he can clearly say he has a mandate, and they're not going to challenge that. They can't challenge it. But no, I never dreamed that he would win the popular vote. I mean, that's a pretty big thing because you've got some of these big states like California primarily who, has a very large population, New York, the state of New York. But he kind of just dug in and took a piece of each of those. For example, in New York, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he had double-digit improvement of the vote he took out of New York as opposed to 2016 and again 2020, of course. So he went in and he carved out the small sections of areas that they never dreamed he could be successful in, and he was able to do so. And what about sweeping the blue wall? It's not the blue wall anymore. He painted it red. I mean, that has not been done since 1988 when George H.W. Bush did it.
I think when we kept watching numbers come in, and I know they didn't call it until about 1:30. They didn't call Pennsylvania, but at 10:30, everybody started to see the writing on the wall in Pennsylvania, right? Yep. Where the votes were coming in and what was happening. And so, we were like, wow, he's going to do this. But when we were with J.D. Vance, I was with J.D. Vance a few weeks ago, and now Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, he David had asked, like, well, what should you look for on election night? What should we be looking for? And he said, if Florida goes quick and Virginia gets called slow.
Yeah.
We never thought we would win Virginia, but there was 45 minutes there, Joey. Virginia was going to Donald Trump.
Yep. He was leading.
And yes. And so, and we won in Dade County and we won in Jacksonville. I mean, those were normally kind of the big blue pockets.
Yeah.
And so, President Trump, and he went to everybody. And I think that's the key, right? Everybody wants to feel like, somebody's asking for their vote, and that's exactly what he did.
Yep.
He went to New York. He talked to the people. He gave them a reason to think about how they should vote. Even if they didn't vote for him, and some of them probably didn't that went to his rallies, it made them think. And, he's given me something to think about, right? My life was better 4 years ago than it is now. And do I really want, men and women's sports? And, is my daughter safe if these, if men are in the bathroom, in the locker room that she's in? And, he just gave them an alternative to think about.
Yep.
And it helped. It worked.
Yep. And that's all it took for them to just pause for a moment and think about it. And, I'm sure a lot of people thought, well, I'm not quite sure about this, but I know I don't like what's happening right now. So it's not going to hurt to try something new. On our guest line, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. All right. So we have Tuesday behind us. Unfortunately, that was the easy part. Now what? With the many issues that he has to deal with, what's the first thing he does on the afternoon of January 20th?
I think that right after he gets sworn in, he is going to close down our borders, north and south. That's what he told me. He told me that at the Palmetto Bowl.
Yep.
Joey, I said, when people ask me what you would do on day 1 and day 2, what should I tell them? Right from your mouth. And he said, I'm going to close the border, north and south. He said, and then we're going to drill, baby, drill.
Yep.
And on day 2, we are going to start to put into place the biggest mass deportation that our country has seen. He said, and it was back then when that was like a new thought, right? He hadn't been talking about that. And he said, what do you think people will think? And I said, Mr. President, I don't think you have a choice. We don't know what to do with all the illegals that we have here. We don't have enough space for them. They're on the streets. That's not humane. They're being exploited. You don't know why they're here. Are they here for a better life or are they here for different reasons? So I think it's not fair to the people who are in their home countries waiting to come here. They got to go back and they got to do it the right way.
Yep. Well, it's going to be something to watch for sure. And I think you're right. I mean, and evidently people in Mexico and some of the people who are considering coming to our country uninvited are thinking the same thing. Yesterday, Homeland Security confirmed that they're getting a lot of chatter right now of people saying, if we're going to go, we got to go now, because they realize that if they don't get into the country, they're not going to come the afternoon of January the 20th. So they're expecting a huge inflow of illegals in the coming weeks.
And that is a shame, because they're going to pay the cartel money to get here, probably money that they've scraped up for, God knows how long. And they're going to get here and they're going to get turned right back around, and all that money is going to be wasted. So, I don't think the cartel who tries to smuggle them over the border and get them here are going to tell them that reality. But somehow I hope common sense prevails for these people. Well, because they are coming for a better life. They probably don't have that money to throw away.
Well, and if Joe Biden wants to do one last decent thing, he'll close the borders now too, so that we don't allow thousands and thousands more into our country, more that we have to deport. So, it's been a fun week. It's been a hard week. I have no sleep whatsoever, but hey, onward and upward for sure. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, it's always a pleasure. Have a great day.
Joey, you too. And, God bless America. And thank you, everybody, for coming out in record numbers to vote.
Sure thing. As we wrap up, what a week we've had. President Donald Trump winning another 4 years. What had been promoted as a close race turned out to be a mandate for Donald Trump. The American people sent a very clear message. We are ready for a new direction. Trump won fairly easily, had some gains among Hispanics, blacks, did much better among women, much better than Kamala Harris ever expected. Trump also bet big on young men who have historically not had much trust or interest in politics. He involved people like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan to drum up support among their fans. The fact is, President-elect Donald Trump has many people to thank for winning the election. But near the top of that list should be young voters who moved in big numbers toward the GOP since his last election in 2020. But it hasn't just been that young voters voted, and young men particularly, that they voted for Donald Trump, but they've also stepped up and they're running for office more so than in the past. On our guest line today, one of several newly elected members of Greenville County Council, Frank Farmer. Frank, welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Joey. How are you, man?
I am wonderful. I appreciate your time. You know, since Tuesday, there's been a lot of discussion about young voters participating this year, and more so than previously. I mean, as we kind of slice and dice the numbers from the overwhelming victory for the Republican Party on Tuesday, we are noticing that younger people did, in fact, show up. Did you notice more involvement among your friends and people your age?
You know what? I definitely did. My friends that I would have considered apolitical for like most of our friendship, they got really jacked up this year. I think we were just pretty tired of the inflation, and you know, I'm a millennial, so it just kind of seems like it's always hitting the fan with our generation. I guess it started out in like 2008. I knew a ton of people that had just graduated, and then the market crashed, and you know, they had all this college debt, and they couldn't get a job. So, and then, you know, there's been copious amounts of wars along the way. But I think people have just kind of gotten really fed up with how things have gotten. And, you know, millennials and the Gen Z crowd, like they're actually getting ready to take a stand, and they're a lot less apathetic right now, which I think is pretty inspiring.
Yeah. Now, you'll be joining Greenville County Council in January to represent the people of District 22. Talk with me about that thought process of when you first started thinking, well, I may run for public office, and what made you finally decide to run?
Yeah, you know, actually, I was called by my neighbor, and she said Sanju Velakis was stepping down, and we need another conservative to hold that seat. Would you be willing to do it? And I just said, no. And and then I kind of slept on it, and I said some prayers about it, and God was really just like opening up the doors, and he was just calling me. He was like, hey, you got to go do this, and I got your back. And so then it just went into campaign mode and just pounding pavement every single day. So it wasn't like an organic thought, but it's something that I felt really called to, you know, after like really just analyzing the situation.
Yeah, there's going to be some new faces, as I mentioned, come January, and many attribute it to the council, of course, raising property taxes in 2023. That was a big issue. A lot of people felt like that their council member did not listen to them. Do you think that sometimes elected officials become somewhat insulated once they are elected to public office, and they sort of get into that mindset that, hey, I'm smarter than you, and they just start ignoring their constituents?
Yeah, I think they do, and I don't think that they're doing it for like a nefarious reason or anything like that. I think what the big issue is when they end up taking a position like that, they are not very good at explaining why they're taking that position and explaining. And, you know, it really sucks for guys that will run on like a campaign that says like, I'm not going to raise your taxes or anything like that. And then they're faced with a pretty big decision, and to where they actually do feel like they're needed to do that. And then your constituents feel betrayed.
Yeah.
So I feel for those guys, but you really do just have to stick to your principles. You got to listen to your voters. Otherwise you're not going to go back in. And, I mean, like name recognition can only take you so far, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so as a newly elected member of Greenville County Council, and with me today, Frank Farmer on our guest line, how do you plan to avoid doing the same thing?
Yeah, so my whole thing that I ran on was just communication and transparency. One of the things that I've vowed to do is after every single county council meeting, either the night of or the day after. I'll do like a Facebook Live and just kind of go through the agenda, what happened and what my thoughts on it are, and then open it up for questions. I made a pretty good point, especially during the primary, to get back to everyone within 24 hours, and that's something that you can expect from me going forward. I'm not afraid of a fight. I'm not afraid to have a disagreement with you, but I'd love to hear you out anyways, because you might know something that I don't know, and it could change my opinion. But yeah, it's very much like what we were talking about before, is people just feel kind of disaffected because the representatives are not communicating with them.
Yeah. And do you believe, Frank, that that's one of the reasons that maybe younger people traditionally have not been involved in politics, because they feel like that politicians just don't listen to them?
Yeah. Oh, I totally believe that. But it's not just young people. It's everyone. I know a lot more people that are, my parents' age that are so disaffected with all of it because they just have given up. There's like, no one cares about us anymore, and we don't have a government that's acting within the people's interests anymore. So it's across the board, I believe. But yeah, young people definitely fit in that category as well.
Yeah. Talk with us a minute now, moving forward. You take office in January, about the challenges that you see ahead of Greenville County.
Yeah, so I imagine that the UDO will pass before I take office. And so we're going to be looking at the effects of that. We want a more detailed audit too. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that the city of Greenville has an audit where it shows you where the money is being moved between accounts, and that's something that I'd like to see for the county. We're all about this new council. We're all about transparency and just showing where things are going. And, infrastructure has been a big deal for me. We're really lagging behind, so we really need to pick it back up, which is why I don't really agree with taking money out of the infrastructure fund to put into the general fund. I'd actually like to see those accounts frozen to where you can't take money out of those accounts. All of those have to be used for roads and infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One final thing for you today, Frank, and with me today, Frank Farmer, newly elected council member from District 22, Greenville County Council. What's your message to other people your age and even younger who are maybe considering running for office in a couple of years, being involved? What's your message to them?
It's totally doable. And just because you're a young guy or a young girl, don't let that dissuade you. Just come in there, just be yourself, give it your all, stand up for what you believe in. I don't think age should be a qualifier or anything like that. And just because you don't have as much experience as, the 60-year-old guy you're running against, that doesn't mean you're less than they are as a candidate. Really just go out there, just give it your all. If you need political advice, I'd be more than willing to help you, but I may charge a fee. but yeah, no, stand up for what you believe in. And that's the only way that we're going to get things done, not just by like complaining on the internet. That doesn't do anything for anyone. You actually have to put yourself out there and you take that risk, and God willing, it'll pay off.
Yep. Frank Farmer, appreciate your time today. Good luck to you as we roll into January next year with your new position on Greenville County Council.
Thank you so much, Joe. It was great talking to you.
Sure thing. That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com. And I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.